You know, what if I told you that the language we use for our gadgets, our keyboards, our printers, what if that held the secret to understanding our own bodies? It sounds a little out there, I know, but it turns out that a few simple tech terms can actually unlock this hidden layer of meaning deep inside our own biology. It's pretty fascinating stuff. So, this whole journey for me started with a pretty modern, kind of nerdy hobby: collecting computer keyboards. And I'm not the only one. It's like collecting fountain pens or something. Each one has its own personality, right? A unique feel, its own quirks and sounds, its own specific job. Now, in the tech world, we have a name for these things. We call them peripheral devices. They're all the tools that sit on the periphery, on the edge of our main computer. But here's the thing. This term is so much more than just tech jargon. It's actually the key to this entire explainer. Okay, so let's talk about your body's peripherals. This is where it gets really interesting, because this whole idea of peripherals maps perfectly onto the human body. We're going to see how your own nervous system is basically organized just like a computer setup. So let me introduce you to the peripheral nervous system, or PNS for short. This is, quite literally, every single part of your nervous system that isn't your brain or your spinal cord. Think of it as your body's network of keyboards, mice, monitors, and printers. All these components that connect your central command center to the big, wide world out there. And this slide just illustrates the analogy so brilliantly. Your central nervous system, that's your brain and spinal cord, it's the computer's CPU, the main processor. Now, the nerves that bring information in, like when you touch something hot or feel a cool breeze, those are your afferent nerves. They're basically your biological keyboards providing input. And the nerves that send commands out to your muscles and glands, well, those are the efferent nerves. They're your body's monitors and printers, creating action and making things happen. All right, so now let's get into the language of these signals. We're going to see how the very words we use, afferent and efferent, they actually have a hidden code inside them that tells you exactly how this whole system works. The secret, believe it or not, lies in one single, super powerful Latin root word, fair. It just means to carry or to bear. It's almost like everyone in the ancient world was just busy hauling meaning from one place to another. And trust me, this one little root is about to do a lot of heavy lifting for us. So what happens when we start playing with it? Well, if you take the prefix a, which is a shortened version of the Latin ad, meaning toward, and you stick it onto our root word fere, boom, you get afferent. These are the nerves that carry signals toward the central nervous system. It's literally right there in the name. How cool is that? And the reverse is just as elegant, just as perfect. You take the prefix e, which comes from ex, meaning out of, and you combine that with fair, and you get efferent. These are the nerves that carry commands out of the central nervous system to your muscles. The direction of the information is baked right into the language itself. Now, what's really fun is seeing where else this fair root pops up. Have you ever been reading something academic and seen that little abbreviation CF in a footnote? Well, that stands for confer, which means to bring together, or more literally, to carry together. It's another little cameo from our star root word telling you to compare ideas. And this brings us right back around to our main keyword for today, peripheral. And its origin story, it's just as perfect. It comes from the Greek peri, meaning around, plus ferrying, which is basically the Greek cousin of our Latin fere, and it also means to carry. So a peripheral device is literally something that carries around the main event. So this brings us to our second secret key, that little prefix peri. Once you know that it just means around, you start seeing it absolutely everywhere. It unlocks the meaning of all these complex-sounding medical and scientific terms. Let's just run through a few quick examples. You definitely know this one from geometry class, perimeter. It's simply the boundary that goes around a shape, or around a park, or even a crime scene. In medicine, this prefix is a total rock star. The pericardium, for instance, is the sac that's wrapped around your heart. See? Pericardium, around the heart. And what about periarthritis? Well, arthro relates to joints. So this is that painful inflammation you can get in the tissues around a joint, like your shoulder. Ever heard of periodontitis? Well, odont means tooth, so this is that nasty inflammation of the gums around your teeth. It's actually why some toothpaste brands have perio right in their name. They're telling you what they do. And one more for good measure, the peritoneum. That's the membrane that's stretched tightly around all the organs in your abdomen. So you see, once you know peri, you've basically unlocked a whole new vocabulary. It's not about memorizing a million words, it's about seeing the system behind them. It makes learning this stuff so much easier. So this whole journey that we've been on, right, from keyboards to the heart, all through language, it brings us to one final kind of self-aware linguistic idea that, of course, uses our favorite new prefix.
The word is periphrase. It's what happens when you talk around a topic instead of just getting straight to the point. You take peri for around and you add phrase. It's just a really clever word for, beating around the bush.
Which, of course, brings us to our final question. By starting this whole thing with keyboards as a way to explain the nervous system, did we just engage in one big elaborate peripheries? Were we just talking around the point this whole time? Well, I hope not. But hey, I'll let you be the judge of that.